Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Healthy Waves, the podcast where we dive deep into the dynamic conversations with the leading experts across the various fields. So each episode brings fresh insights, expert discussions, and engaging dialogue designed to inspire, educate, and challenge the way we think about our mental health, well being, personal growth, and many more. So, whether you are looking to unlock your potential or maybe make impactful changes or just stay informed on the latest topics, Healthy Waves is here to guide you through these important conversations. So, get ready to ride the wave of knowledge, wisdom, and the meaningful conversations. So, welcome to the show, Ian.
Thank you very much, Havoc.
Lovely, lovely. So, dear listeners, we have our special guest with us, Yan Kaminda. So, I'd love to quickly introduce Yan to all of you. So, dear listeners, Yan is someone who has spent the last 20 years helping over 400 organizations become the purpose driven and consistently remarkable. So, he is a blueprint expert guiding the CEOs and individuals alike to define their purpose. Yes, in just 7 words or less. So he is also an accomplished author, speaker, coach, and his transformative work has been featured on the national television. So his method not only revolutionizes the business but also has also been adapted to help individuals create a personal blueprint for a purposeful and the fulfilling life. So, without further ado, let's welcome to the show again, Rian.
Thank you very much.
Lovely, lovely. So, yeah, and if you can explain your blueprint process, uh, how defining one's purpose in the 7 words or less impacts the mental health and the strength.
Um, well, people walk through life
Uh-huh.
and they live their life the best they can, right?
Yeah.
And they're constantly faced with choices, have decisions that they have to make, and they sometimes it's easy and sometimes they struggle, and sometimes they're faced with situations that create great uncertainty about the future. And we call those trigger events. And a trigger event can be something like, a career change by choice or not by choice. It could be
Mm.
getting married, it could be graduating, it could be a health problem, a death, or it could be, there's any one of a number of things that trigger us because they create uncertainty about the future. And when we have uncertainty about the future, we feel frustrated, anxious, and maybe even angry. And that's not that's not a great state to be in for your mental well-being. So, what your purpose is, it is that one thing at your essence, at your core, that makes you uniquely remarkable. There is something that is your magic, your secret sauce. It's what makes you you. And it's what your friends and your work colleagues and your family values in you. And so, what we do at Purpose You, which is, a course to take to define your purpose in 7 words or less, and then design a life of purpose and meaning, um, is oh gosh, I lost my train. Sorry.
Okay.
I was talking about, how purpose helps you with those trigger events. So Pablo Picasso has a great quote. He said um, that the meaning of life is to
Mm.
find your gift, and your purpose is to share it with the world. And so I just rephrase that to say your purpose in life is to find your gift and share it with the world. And so what that means is that your gift the way I articulate that is just it's the one thing that makes you uniquely remarkable. And
Yeah.
when you can define what that is, what your superpower is, first of all, it gives you a great deal of confidence because now you can articulate your value. You know what the root of your value is, and nobody can ever take that away from you. But secondly, it becomes a decision making tool so that when you're faced with a difficult situation, you can, and you're looking at, there's a whole bunch of options and you don't know how to decide. Well, you just hold it up to your purpose statement, which is a very short statement, 7 words or less. And the reality is, it's usually 2 or 3 or 4. You
Mhm.
hold that up to your purpose statement and you say, is this consistent? Is it aligned with my purpose statement? And whatever is the choice that is most aligned with your purpose statement is probably the choice that's going to make you most happy. So so it is, you ask, how does it help in mental well-being? Well, it helps you make better decisions and make them faster and easier because you know why you're making them. And then whatever uncertainty about the future that's been created because you don't know what to do is now solved by, it's easy for me to figure out what to do.
That's lovely. And if you can also share a real life example of someone who found their purpose and using your method and how it impacted their mental well-being.
Oh, sure. So I had a business colleague
Okay.
who had been a CEO a number of times.
Okay.
And she'd been running this company for about 5 years. And we
Mhm.
were we were just sitting around having a drink after work. And she said, Ian, I'm bored. I said, why are you bored? And she said, when I came to this company, it was a mess. And I had to clean it up. But now it runs itself and I'm bored. And I said, well, it sounds like it's time for, your next position. And
Mm.
she said, oh, God, yeah, but that scares the hell out of me. And I thought, like, this woman has been a CEO a number of times over.
Yeah.
And she's just going out looking for her next gig. And she is afraid. And she said, I feel like I've had my head down for the last 5 years with blinders on, just focusing on what I had to do to turn this company around. And then 5 years later, I look up and the whole world's changed. And I don't know, if I fit into that world anymore. I don't know if there's a place for me. I don't know if there's a job that I'm going to like. I don't know if my skills are relevant anymore. I don't know. I don't know. Again, here's an event that has
Mm.
triggered uncertainty about the future, and it's causing her all this anxiety. And if you knew her, you know that the anxiety is ridiculous because she is just so accomplished.
Yeah.
So I did a personal blueprint with her where,
Okay.
and so we started just by, I ask her questions about her life and what is she like and, all this sort of thing. And as it turns out, she her mind only gets truly engaged when things are at their worst. So when the world is going to hell in a handbasket, put this
Mhm.
woman in charge because she loves cleaning up messes. And so we talked about what it's like to come into a new company that's in deep trouble as the new leader. And what do you do? And how do you, like, these people are all shell shocked, right?
Yeah.
They've all been they're watching their company go down the drain. And so I said, what I'm picturing is you've got this like army troop, and they've just been through a series of battles and they are beaten down. And now they're standing at the edge of a minefield. and they know that they have to walk through that minefield and get to the other side. And a new leader comes to them and looks out over the minefield and then turns back to them and confidently but quietly says, um, don't worry, because I can guide you safely across the minefield. And she said, that's me. That's me. That's the role I want to play. I want to give those people confidence that I can get them across the minefield because I've been there, done that. So guiding safely across the minefield became her purpose statement, which applies in business. You can see how it applies in business, but it also applies in her personal life as well, right? She has friends who have difficult problems that they need to solve, or they're involved in a difficult situation or doing a difficult event. And the more difficult it is, the more helpful she is in helping them try to figure out how to do it best. So she thrives. And, so here's how she uses it in her life as a decision-making tool. Remember, I said it was a decision-making tool. So now she's going out into the marketplace. She wants a new CEO gig, and there's headhunters out there who are approaching her. And a headhunter comes to her and says, I have this gem for you. It's a great company with a great product. It's cruising right along, and it needs somebody to, just to keep growing revenue at 10% or 5% a year. And her response to that is, no thanks. Most people would jump at that opportunity.
Yeah.
And to her, it's like, no thanks. That has nothing to do with leading safely through the minefield. There's no minefield. And he says, minefield? You want a minefield? I got this company over here that is just a steaming pile of garbage, but I don't want to show it to anybody because it's going to be awful turning it around. And she says, that's what I want. That's what I want. Give me that. And so, it was easy for her to make that decision to go for the company that's in trouble, because only when things are really, really tough does her mind get fully engaged, and then it clicks into gear and goes at 100 miles an hour.
Lovely. Good. And also, like, what role does purpose play in developing the mental resilience?
So that's a two-pronged answer. That's a great question. So the first thing is, I'll go back to confidence,
Okay.
right? So when you know what your superpower is, it gives you confidence to hang in to situations, longer and to completion in a way that you wouldn't before, because you didn't know you had a superpower, and it's available to you anytime you want, and no one can take it away from you. And then the other thing is, when you're working towards something and you're bringing your purpose into play to help you, there is a logic to your purpose. You look at it and you say, yes, I can always use this. And I can't necessarily see the way out right now, but I know that the logic of my purpose is airtight, and it will guide me through if I just keep applying it. So my friend, she didn't know what job she'd get, but knowing that her purpose, leading safely through the minefield, knowing that she had a special talent in that, and that's always available to her, allowed her to stay up and persistent throughout the job search rather than getting down, because she knew that she could communicate her value effectively and that there were people out there who would find value in that. And so that's the resilience and the sustainability. It's just, I got this thing, I got this ally, And it gives me confidence and it gives me skills.
That's lovely. And also, when we're talking about this, so how does having a clearly defined purpose help in managing the stress, anxiety, even the depression? Also, what do you say?
Even the what? Sorry. Oh,
Even the depression, yeah.
depression. Again, so here's the thing: it's not going to be a panacea, right?
Okay.
It's not going to cure all your ills. What
Hmm.
it is an assistant in all of those areas. And the assistant, it all goes back to the same thing: is how it helps you make decisions. It's the dirty secret about purpose, about what purpose is and how it works. It's just a decision making tool. So whatever decisions inside whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, even in the midst of depression, your purpose is there, and you can call on it to help you um, answer questions that are floating around in your head and that are causing you this anxiety or depression. Again, it's not going to be a panacea, but it will help.
Understood. Got it. So, uh, I mean, also living a purpose driven life affect the physical health in addition to the mental health. So what do you think, like, how it how does the living how does living a purpose driven life affect this physical health in addition to the mental health?
Um, so let me answer that by telling you a little bit
Hmm.
about the course that we offer
Okay.
at Purpose U. Because coming up with your purpose, coming up with that statement in 7 words or less, just puts you at the starting line, not the finish line, because you use that to do other stuff. And
Yeah.
one of the things that we do in the advanced course is we use that short phrase to design a life of meaning and purpose in 10 different areas of your life. We've identified 10 different areas, right? So there's
Yeah.
family and friends, there's finance, there's career, there's health and wellness. So in the life you design in the health and wellness category, you
Mhm.
use your purpose statement to design how you're going to live a life of health and wellness that is filled with meaning and purpose. And then inside that, there are actions that will become self-evident that you need to take in order to actually live that life of meaning and purpose in the health and wellness area of your life. You can do the same thing in finance. What is looking through the filter of your purpose? What
Mhm.
does a life of meaning and purpose look like in finance? And the important thing about figuring that out in finance, right, which is one of 10 categories, is that it impacts all the other 9 categories, right? How you pay for those categories in essence, and everything costs money. Everything, even love, right? How do you express love? You buy a bouquet of flowers, you buy a gift for your child, whatever. So designing a life of purpose and meaning in the financial area of your life is important.
Exactly. Yeah. So, once someone has defined their purpose in 7 words, what practical steps do you recommend for integrating it into a daily life?
Oh, well, that's really just what I just talked about. So two things. Once you have your purpose, there are two things that you need. One is you need to be able to tell the story of it. So in the course, we I lead you through a process. Once you've defined your purpose in 7 words or less, I lead you through a process of designing all the elements of the story. And now what that means is you can talk confidently about it. And when you talk confidently about it, you inspire others. And when they hear you talking about whatever it is that you want to do that's purpose driven, they say, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to participate in that as well. And now you got a bunch of people who are intrigued by your purpose. um, And then the second thing that you do is you actually design, right? You don't just say, "Oh, this is my purpose, and I'm going to keep it front of mind as I live my life and help use it to help me make decisions." I mean, you do that, but you also actually design how you want to live your life in each of these areas of your life. So you are living a life of design, and that design is based on what gives you meaning and purpose.
That's true. Yeah. And also like for uh like how do trigger events like career changes, the retirement, pandemic, uh, prompt people to do search for purpose?
How does it or why does it?
um how also, I mean, how they, I mean, both, if you can
Yeah. So the thing is that in a trigger event,
yeah.
you are discombobulated, right?
Hmm.
You There is confusion in your mind.
Hmm.
Confusion is like fog,
True.
and so when people feel that way, one thing they want is clarity. Get rid of that fog. Give me clarity about where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. Um, but the other thing it does is it makes them think about their life
Hmm.
broader than just the specific thing that the trigger event is about, right? So the trigger event might be, I'll give you an example
Yeah.
that combines a bunch of these elements. So during COVID, I knew that business was going to slow down a lot. This is how this course was made, because I do this for corporations as well. Define your purpose in 7 words or less, and have it
Hmm.
guide how you operate the business and how you communicate about the business. And I made the individual blueprint out of the corporate blueprint. So I'm trying to remember the question that I'm answering, which was why. Oh, right. As I was telling you that I decided to get my coaching certification during COVID so that I could be an executive coach. And in my very first call with a prospect, he said, "The pandemic," because this was like 6 months into the pandemic. He said, "The pandemic has me thinking about my life." Okay, so in that one sentence, the two things that I said were in there, right? The pandemic, which is a very specific trigger, and it's got him feeling anxiety about the pandemic. But then he said, and it's got me thinking about my life, and I don't like how I'm living my life. I don't like my career. I don't like, my personal life. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to live a life of meaning and purpose. So from this very specific trigger came this big existential, you know, question. And that it just seems like people, the first place they go when they're feeling that way is purpose. I want a sense of purpose. I want to live a life of meaning and purpose. And then the question becomes, how the heck do you do that? How the heck do you figure out what your purpose is? And it's sort of like doing therapy, right? Like people say to me, well, if someone wanted to do it for themselves, what would you suggest? I would suggest don't, because it's a fruitless exercise. I mean, there may be 1 in a million people out there who can figure it out on their own, but but you know, um, you need the outside perspective, and you need the step by step process. This is a science, right? Step by step by step by step to get there. And so that's what we do in the course at Purpose U is we, I lead people step by step through this proven process. Um, and that's how, and it is. very comprehensive in how it does it. It takes you into a deep dive in yourself. So you not only get your purpose, and then you get to design a life of meaning and purpose, but holy cow, do you ever learn about yourself in the process?
That's lovely. And so, in your experience, how quickly do individuals start seeing the mental health benefits after they have defined their purpose?
Oh, right away, right away. Um, and the example that I have comes from my corporate experience. So I was pitching a client or a prospect,
Mhm.
and I was sitting in front of the board. And the
Okay.
chair said to me, "What is it that excites you about the possibility of getting us as a client? Is it that you can then go out, if you're successful with us, you can go out and pitch other companies like mine or like ours?" And I said, "No. What excites me about getting you as a client is how I'm going to change you. Because you're going to think about your company fundamentally differently. This is going to be a different company in your mind tomorrow than it is today. And all of that is going to happen because of how 7 words or less changes your perspective. It'll be like the veil lifts and the fog clears, and you'll know exactly what this company is and what to do with it. And it's the same thing with the individual, right? Like the moment you get your purpose statement, your 7 words or less, you're changed forever. It's like, holy cow. I mean, I knew this, I had this in me, but I didn't know what it was or how to make it work, in my life. But when you can articulate it, when you can bring it to the surface, then you can use it by design rather than it was always in you and it's there trying to do its work, but you're not aware of it. So you're not a cooperating partner. Once you know what it is, you become a cooperating partner to your purpose and you work hand in hand to go off into the future living together.
Got it. Got it. So, also, like for the listeners who are struggling to define their purpose, what advice do you have for them to get started, especially if they feel overwhelmed?
Well, this advice, it doesn't matter where you are. And I'm often asked this by companies
Okay.
as well, right? What do we do to prepare for a blueprint? And so I say, consider this question. If everything that you do is a means to an end, what is the end purpose? Because everything you do is, at the end of the day, designed to accomplish one thing in your life. And so, what is that thing? And it makes people think sort of above what they normally think, because normally they think about the things they do. Oh, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to go shop. I'm going to take my kid here. I'm going to go out to dinner with my partner or whatever. And but they don't sort of think, okay, in the aggregate, in the collective, all the important things that I'm doing in my life, is there a similarity? Is there a common thread? The answer is yes. And that's what we do at Purpose U. We help you find that common thread. But certainly you can start that process just by thinking about it. Everything you do is a means to an end. What's the end purpose? What's the common thread that ties all those things together?
Understood. And so, finally, what's the one takeaway you want listeners to remember about how purpose expressed in 7 words or less can boost their mental health and the strength?
I would say, and I've already talked about this, so I'm sorry for being a little repetitive, but I think most people in the world walk around thinking less of themselves than their
Okay.
friends and family do, right? Other people see you, your coworkers, and they've got a much higher opinion of you than you
True.
do. And if you had the same high opinion of you that they do, and don't forget, that doesn't mean you're bragging if you have that high opinion, because they
Hmm.
share that opinion. They validated that you're actually here, not here. If you could have that same opinion because you were able to articulate your root value, then if all you got was just the confidence and self-esteem benefit, you'd be a happier person walking through life. Figure out your purpose just for that reason and consider all the other benefits to be icing on the cake. Better decision making tool, reducing anxiety faster, getting people, being a magnet, being charismatic. These are all benefits that accrue to you from defining your purpose. But if the only one that you actually feel is just the boost in self esteem and confidence, holy cow, isn't that a great tonic that everybody should benefit from?
Understood. Understood. That's really lovely. Thank you, and that's a wrap for today's discussions, dear listeners. And for this, a huge thank you to Jan for sharing his incredible insights on the purpose and how defining it in 7 words or less can transform not only the businesses but individuals' lives as well. So, his unique blueprint process is truly a game changer, offering the clarity and focus in a world full of distractions. So, if you want to learn more about his work or dive deeper into his blueprint method, be sure to check out his book, Why Should I Choose You? And visit the website as well. So, thank you everyone for tuning into Healthy Waves. And remember that living with the purpose isn't just a choice, it's the foundation for a happier and more fulfilling life.
It
So, with
absolutely is.
this, yeah, exactly. So, with this, see you all, everyone, on our next episode. So, till then, thank you so much.